Recently, I have made several videos in which I mentioned or referenced or talked about D.T.M.F tones. And apparently, the use of the term D.T.M.F has caused much confuculation. And if I'm being honest, I blame myself. So in this very short and simple video, I will put an end to some of the nasty rumors and ongoing confucularity surrounding the term D.T.M.F. So sit back in your chair, get comfortable, take a slow, deep breath, relax, and just breathe through your mouth until this is over. And do not tell anyone about our little secret. First of all, allow me to clarify that D.T.M.F is not a psychoactive drug, and D.T.M.F is not a system used by the United States Army for planning and tracking training. D.T.M.F stands for dual tone multi-frequency. However, it is very important to note that anyone actually using that definition when speaking out loud should be ignored, because clearly they would be some kind of socially crippled dork. Any normal person, whilst speaking with other normal people, would explain and define D.T.M.F as those telephone touch tone noises that your phone makes when you push the buttons. And just for a little background, D.T.M.F, those telephone touch tone noises, were first put into use when touch tone telephones were first introduced to the public back in the 1940s, just before the end of World War I. Those fancy new touch tone telephones replaced the old-fashioned rotary dial type telephones that had been in use over the previous 150 years. And then sometime in the 1960s or 1970s, nobody really cares, ham radio people started using those telephone touch tone noises on their radios to access and control their repeaters. And these telephone touch tone noises are still used today in both ham and GMRS radios to access private radio systems, control repeaters, and do other radio dork-related stuff that most normal people do not really care about. And it is also important to point out that even though these telephone touch tone noises can be used to control ham and GMRS repeaters, these telephone touch tone noises should not be confused with CTCSS or DCS tones that are generally what is used to access and make use of repeaters in these modern times in which we live, because they are a totally different thing. However, in these modern times in which we live, many two-way radios use these telephone touch tone noises to send radio ID numbers back and forth between themselves, which I will now demonstrate. As you can see here, I have a Wuxin Ocean KG-Q10G GMRS walkie-talkie radio, and I have this Wuxin Ocean KG-935G GMRS walkie-talkie radio, which, as you may have noticed, has seen better days because I ran it over with my Jeep, and I burned it, and I dropped it in the toilet, and I froze it, all for an old video. But just like they used to say in those old Casio watch TV commercials, it takes a lickin' and it still works. I have configured the Q10G radio to send an ID number using those telephone touch tone noises, and the KG-935G can decode those telephone touch tone noises and display them on its still functioning screen. Thusly. And of course, these same telephone touch tone noises are still in use on modern phones today to dial telephone numbers and for pressing 0 so you can talk to an actual human being. However, probably the most important use of those telephone touch tone noises is to do things like this. So the next time someone asks you what DTMF tones are, be sure to impress them with this newfound knowledge and tell them that the YouTubes taught you that DTMF tones are those telephone touch tone noises.